Good morning, one and all person here. I warmly welcome all the participants and our resource person, Dr. S. Selvam, on behalf of our management and our college, Saint Madrasa Engineering College. It's my privilege to introduce Dr. S. Selvam. Dr. S. Selvam is the Director of National Power Training Institute, Neyveli. He completed his bachelor degree in Electronics and Communication Engineering from Coimbatore Institute of Technology in the year of 1990. He completed his Master of Science by Research in Engineering from Birla Institute of Technology, Pune at 1994. He completed his Doctor of Philosophy from Jamia Millia Islamia University, New Delhi at 2003. From 1995 onwards, he is working in NPTI. From 2018, he is working as a director in NPTI. He has published more than 23 papers. He has well experience in power plant training. I humbly request all the participants to take him as a role model and gain knowledge from him. Now I hand over the session to Dr. S. Selvam.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Mr. Regan, HOD Electrical Engineering Department. I take this privilege to give you a session through webinar in career opportunities in the challenging power industry. So, as you all know, that power industry is really a vast sector. I'll show you really how you can enter in this great field and you can be a winner for this. Just I am taking the presentation now. Hope you all are fine and taking care of your beloved one. Career opportunities in power plant engineering. Power plant is a very huge field where mechanical, electrical, chemical, process, automation, everything is there. From the generation side to the transmission side, there are a lot of challenges, and the industry is very big, vast, and one should dream to work in such power industry. So before going into this, I just introduce about our institute, National Power Training Institute, which is a pioneer in power plant training. So this is our NPTI. Welcome to NPTI Neyveli. This is our entrance gate, which you are seeing. And we are located in Neyveli. You know, all of you must be knowing about Neyveli. It's a power city, and this is where we are located. So we are located in Neyveli, and in the southern, the center of Tamil Nadu. And if you type simply National Power Training Institute in Google Map or anywhere, you can find our ID. And this institute is the first of its kind that was made for the power plant training personnel. So anybody can work anywhere, but the prerequisite knowledge for a power plant is a must. To work in big engine, big machineries, you need to follow certain safety norms, you should know the basic concepts of power plant. Then only you can confidently work. So now, right. So National Power Training Institute is an autonomous society under the Ministry of Power, Government of India. So we are with the Ministry of Power. You must be knowing Central Electricity Authority, CEA, ourselves, CEA, CPRI, BEE, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, all are under reporting to the same ministry. So for NPTI, National Power Training Institute, we are spread across whole country, and we have an experience of power plant training for more than 50 years. For 50 years, what we are doing, we have trained all the sectors, all engineers, not only engineers, supervisors, technicians, and all. For this purpose, we have received ISO 9001, 2000, and ISO 14000 certifications also for training. So that makes us a leader as far as training is concerned. So I am very proud to be a part of this Neyveli, which is the oldest NPTI, established in 1965. Probably I was also not born at that time. Okay. So these are the functions. We have 48 acres of campus. It's more bigger than any engineering college which is coming right nowadays. So that is the vast basic infrastructure. This is our main institute where I am sitting on the first floor and delivering the lecture. This is our building, main building, academic building, where most of the classes are conducted. And this is the institute, which is having a well-defined infrastructure with LCD projectors, air-conditioned classrooms, and other state-of-art training tools. Going into the other facilities, we have a conference hall, air-conditioned, auditorium of 140 seaters capacity. It's almost like a cinema theater. We have renovated it recently, and then we have our own computer laboratory, which is having internet and other features. And we have a very good library with more than 7,000 books collection. Particularly, our area of collection is more in thermal power plant. You refer to any old power plant, machine diagram or line diagram, everything we have. And we have faculty rooms, administration, accounts. So then this is the workshop. It's not only teaching, we take you to the workshop where the maintenance, other concepts, cutaway look of a wall, pump is given. So a person can see from those all things. And workshop building is also having tutorial classroom for the purpose. And their classes can be conducted. And we have certain basic facilities there also. This is just a gist of our workshop. These are the real part that were used in power plant. Once upon a time, different types of valves, different types of motors, and some of them are having cutaway view. And we have a workshop with drillers, bench work mechanisms, all these things are there. It's like an engineering college laboratory. We have bearing lab, bearing maintenance lab, transformer maintenance lab, and adding to the fuel, we have recently contributed in RE sector also, renewable energy sector. We have 2 kilowatt solar power generation in our lab. It was recently introduced by our Director General, Mr. Dr. R.K. Pandey, Rajendra Kumar Pandey. He came recently. And this is our team whom we are seeing. Myself is there, our Director General, and all my colleagues are here. And then infrastructure further is continued. We have CNC machines, motor maintenance, electrical machines. This we have a hostel also. We have 3 hostels, hostel A, B, C. And there is an executive hostel for new facilities. It can accommodate a maximum of 250 trainees. And this is our guest house, which is having 4 air-conditioned suites. And now, for the methodology of teaching is concerned, we have our own multimedia training package, because nowadays everybody wants that computer teaching can be supplementary. We have made our own packages. About 60 packages have been made, and each package can run for more than 2 hours or 2.5 hours. So this way, the students are given this as a supplementary. So because if I explain you with so many things regarding the generator, boiler in diagram, inner details, it is not possible to bring out everything in the slide. So we have this, and these all commercially also we are selling. Other buildings are there. We are having our own complex with 61 quarters. There is a gym, reading laboratories. All these things are there. And coming to the academic point of view, we are running 3 regular courses. That is for 1 year duration, postgraduate diploma in power plant engineering, then graduate engineering course with a capacity of 77, PDC, post diploma course. After diploma, you can do this. Other short-term courses. Now coming to the point of placement. I have produced a partial list. These are the power leaders as far as India is concerned. TPCAL, TCE, GE India. Why I am taking this is because you want a career opportunity. So you should know the scope and who is in this teaching, in this pioneering experienced field, and what are the scopes that. exactly these companies are there: Adani Power, Sapurji, Palonji, OPG, ILF, ILFS, Bajaj Energy, Lanco, Torrent, Tata Power, Power. And the advantage, once you join here, we have our own reputation, and by that name, people come every year for campus placements. And 3000 megawatt thermal power plant, we are located in Neyveli, so they are our big brother, and we share their facilities for giving on-site training. And not only that, we take some of the expert faculty from them because everything cannot be taught by us. Everybody is not expert in everything. So, and we have IPP, 250 megawatt once through technology IPP nearby, also 660 megawatt ILFS, CCCP, and all are located nearby. Now, going to this, you may ask what is in that thermal power plant. So, let me take you this. This is on. Yes. This I'll take you to this. Where is it? Coal to electricity. You should know this. On where is it? So can you see this slide? Can you see this?
Yes, we can see, sir.
Coal to
Yes, we can see
electricity.
this, sir.
Yeah. This is what? Just a tool. What is the thermal power plant?
Sir, first side is in the visible, sir.
Oh, sorry. This is not visible. I'll take this. And, this was from. Okay. One minute. Sir. Stop. Sorry. And just present now. A window. Where is it? Career opportunity. This is now it's okay. This is an animated.
Yeah, it is okay, sir.
Just gives you overall idea how a power plant. Here they are getting coal from. Okay. Coal is powdered to some extent, up to 50 millimeters. These are called pulverized. There will be 6 to 8 pulverizers. Now this is the furnace. Version of mechanical to electrical. That is
மிகப்பெரிய ஆளா ஜிஎம்மா இருந்துட்டு இப்போ வந்து தூத்துக்குடியில ஒரு பிளான்ட்ல ஹெட்டா இருக்காராம்.
scrubbers, they remove fly ash. This This part probably. So up to this is the part. Now let me take you to the actual presentation. Is it okay? Is it shared? 1 second, 1 second. Then I have to start here. Now, this, you have seen the show now? Is it okay, Mr. Regan? Can you see this?
No, sir, it's not visible to us.
No, this is
It's not
not.
visible to us, sir.
Okay, 1 second. 1 second, 1 second. I'm not conversant with Google Meet anyway. I'll get you. Present now. I'm going to go this. Okay. So this is that. So you have seen power plant.
Yeah, it's visible, sir.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. I will not trouble you further. So now you have seen the slideshow. What makes it very important is that you have seen a huge drum mill that is crushing, and there is a big hopper that can have tons of coal in this, and the hopper can continuously support for more than 5-6 hours. Such a huge mechanism is grinding, and there are other safety mechanisms that are to be taken. Similarly, the furnace, which is a height of more than 100 feet, 100 meter, and this 100-meter different elevations are there. There are fire hazards. So many things are to be controlled. And again, you convert water into steam, into high pressure. And not only that, the water which you are using is a DM water, demineralized water. So you should have a treatment plant also. Then again, it is taken, steam is taken, it is given to the turbines, HVLP and IP turbine. In this presentation, it was on 3,600 RPM, but in India, we are using 3,000 RPM. So the frequency is 50 Hertz, 120 F by P can put. And so the optimal speed is 3,000 RPM, and it should not speed further, it should not speed down also. Under different conditions, it has to work. Not only this, all the allied equipments have to work. So, and the final product is power. That is very important. Power industry is called mother of all industry. So, if there is power, there will be automatically industry, there will be automatically mobilization, there will be so many things to come, and people will also come, and as a result, it will be urbanized. And next point to see is, I'll show you the slides also. More than about 60% installed capacity is from fossil fuel, that is coal. And of this also, we have other options, alternative generations are there. But even then, the power industry is primarily dominated by fossil fuel, that is coal. And this is having huge capital industry. It is at least you need 4 crores per megawatt. Suppose if a power plant comes for 600 megawatt, 600 into 4, 2,400 crores. And your return period of this invested capital is about 15 years, 15 years, 12 years, depending on the agreement. And not only this, the power industry is having allied sectors also. It's having huge, you have seen so many huge mechanisms, motors, mills, mechanical parts, all these things. They are to be manufactured by a big industry, turbine, so many things are there. And all are cost involving. And then the power is produced. You have HT transmission, LT transmission, distribution, so many things are there. So many transcos are involved. And then there is a distribution T&D discount. Ultimately, you are paid for the power plant from the user only. The user is using certain electricity, he has to pay. And other maintenance aspects are there. Everywhere there are scopes, from the design, implementation, running, maintenance, and all are having. So the power plant is having its pinnacle in all the fields. So what makes a power plant important? We are continuing. And huge growth opportunities to grow from a graduate engineering training to CMD, GM, President of Power Corporation. This is good. With good, very good remuneration. It's very important. You all know what is the entry cadre salary of GET in NLCAL. It is 7 lakhs. And if you become a GM, what will be that? How many times it is multiplied? Maybe by about 10, 7, 5 to 7 times. And not only that, you are working in a challenging industry, managing so much of manpower. 1,000 people are working in that. So if you have a passion to work in a power plant, you can choose this career. Not only that, like an IT industry, here also we are having a switchover opportunity. That is, I want to change from this to the next organization. Okay, well and good, you can change immediately because there is plenty of opportunity to switch over from one organization to another organization. And great technical challenges in job and opportunity to cross continents. Because if you are working in a power plant, it's not only that you are working with countries, national traders, national manufacturers. You will be meeting international manufacturers, international bidding. So in this opportunity, you travel to different countries and different possibilities are there. And wider technical platform to share your experience and attending technical conferences. For example, if you are a knowledge person, then obviously you will be called everywhere. And there are plenty of meets. Regularly, we conduct seminars, conferences, and all these things. Everywhere, people are invited to share their experience. Even NPTI is organizing seminars where in which we invite experienced people. They can come here, share their experience. By that way, it becomes a very and not only this, as I told, a power engineer is a different person. He's not a specialist in electrical, motor, or something. He knows everything. He knows the mechanical concept also. Suppose you say it is a reverse cycle compressor, then also he knows. Not only that, he knows the maintenance of a mill, basic problems in the mill. So like that way, he becomes a composite engineer, having all the qualities of mechanical, electrical, electronics, instrumentation, and computer applications. Because you know nowadays the instruments are coming with a way that they can be interfaced in Ethernet bus, Profibus, system bus. So all these things making he's a composite engineer. He can be placed anywhere. So even if you switch over from power plant industry to steel industry or some other industry, you can work because you are working on a process. You can working your safety norms or basic knowledge of instruments are there. You can be employed anywhere. And at last, it's a composite engineer with all these things. And not only that, he is leading group of engineers, hundreds, thousands of engineers. By that way, he becomes an experienced, very experienced technical person. So that way, he can be giving his services even after retirement also. So, we have seen so many persons who retired at the top level, they are still continuing up to 70 age. So your earning period is also increased. So now, okay, you have a mind to work here. So now you know what all the basic. Can I go immediately get a job in a power plant? I am a graduate engineer with all good records. Can I join? No, there is a restriction. So with a view to build adequate technical capacity and develop economically viable energy sector and energy efficiency and compliance of laudable objectives of the government of India, adequate scientific and technical manpower at all levels is a prerequisite. So you should have certain knowledge. Who is going to give this knowledge? There are certain institutes recognized by Central Electricity Authority. CEA is the authority whom is interfacing with the power plants and all. And they have to certify one institute that like AICTE. Okay, you may be good in knowledge, but you have to graduate from a AICTE recognized institute. So like this Central Electricity Authority is inspecting institutes, and on the basis of this, they are classifying institute. So being a pioneer in the power plant training, we have also accredited with CEA, Central Electricity Authority. And there is one amendment, IEA amendment law that says that any person to work in power plant of capacity above 1000 megawatt is to be trained for a minimum of 52-week period from a CEA recognized institute. So you should know by looking at the pipe itself, what is this, whether it is a high pressure steam, low pressure steam, and what is the essentiality of this. Suppose there is a valve, you have a tendency to open it. So if you open, what will happen? Some accidents will happen. These all things you should know. For this purpose, we give you training. The training is having a complete package, starting from safety, basic of operation, and operation principle. Interlocks. Interlocks are main. Suppose there are two pumps in sequence, and the first pump is to be operated, and then the next pump is to be operated. If you are doing it on the other way, there will be cavitation problem. Yeah, for that example, charging from a substation. So you have to first operate uh, uh, bus bar. Bus bar is are there. Different operating procedures are there. Isolators are to be operated first. Then only breakers will be operated. On the other hand, if you are operating breakers uh, in the first and isolators in the next, there will be sparking. So these all issues that certain sequence of operations and the methodology and intensifying the problem, all these are important. So you are, for this purpose, you have to undergo on-site training, because whatever you are taught in the classroom is not sufficient. You have to go to your power plant. You have to do the online scheme tracing. You have to interact with people. You will be deployed for some time the power plant, that will give you the idea of power plant experience. Then you will be tested on a simulator. Simulator is a real thing. So there you have to put this, have to undergo on-site training and maintenance. We have simulator at corporate office, that is Delhi, Nagpur, Durgapur, Bangalore, Arapula, all these things. So that way, the composite training, you get the confidence. And simulator is a real toy, you can say. It gives all sort of problems, all sort of problem to test the skill of a person. For example, you are a new engineer, you cannot be allowed to work on the plant, and you cannot invite the trouble. And I want to see your skill to react to that. So what I got, we say we create an artificial problem, and that problem, how you are tackling with it. Because all there is a survey recently, you might have heard of some incidences. So we simulate all these falls, and with respect to certain time, and see the acumen and responsiveness of the train. So, for example, there is a short circuit between stator and rotor. So, what will happen? How you are going to react for that? So, that part you can work with a simulator. It's like pilot simulator. So, similar to this, they say for before sitting in a plane, you have to be trained in uh, pilot simulator. So like this is a very essential tool, one of the best application of computer. And safety norms to be followed by individual and co-workers during the entire period of service. So you have to wear helmet, and you have to wear shoes, tucked in shirts, and all these things. This becomes your hobby. So ready to work inside, usually away. You know, the power plant, at least Neyveli is near, Toothukudi is near the harbor, it's okay. Other power plants which are located in some remote area, pithead power stations near the coal mines, you should have the ability to work for them. also. If you are working, then you have to, because what the management can do, they can develop schools and all these things. Some people say that I don't want to work in remote place. That sort of mentality will be uh, a little bit of problem, because if you want to do certain challenges, you have to see compromise with others' problems also. So you have to ready to work in sites, different sites, and obviously in the initial period you may have to work in day-night shifts. If you are working in day, because it is a continuous operation, the power plant is working, the turbine is rotating 365 days. They accordingly deploy engineers in three shifts, four shifts possibly, day, night, and morning. All this combined together, you have to work. So if you are, these are certain things you have to compromise focus. Initially, you may have to do two, three night shifts, and also it's not like that going there, and you should have a chance. When you have a chance, you should learn the nearby equipment, because later on you may become the head of that particular department, and at that time, if you don't know what is the problem, so you should be a continuous learner in this field. Because I know one person who was posted, he was a gold medalist. He was posted in ash handling plant. There were other two guys who left the job, but this person was doing his best. And looking at his seriousness and sincerity, he was given chance, and now he is a advisor to the big group, and he is in the advisor team. So this way, you have to learn with the given opportunities, then you can work. Now you see the whatever we tell, whenever you are entering a business, you should know what is the volume of the business, because it is not like that after 2 3 years it may go got shrink, or nothing is going to be there. Uh, Obviously, we have to see what is the volume. You all already know it is power. Industry is the mother of all industry, and what way it is. India is the world's third largest producer and consumer of electricity. We produce this much of electricity that we are behind China and the US. But if you see the other countries as a whole, our power generation is huge, huge, very huge, and that makes it the business. And now, okay, what is the point? We are producing, and how it has to do with the business. So once upon a time, after independence, light was used for only, electricity was used for only light. And if you have a fan, you are a rich person. That was the ideology. Now the concept is changing, that you all know that almost all middle income earning people, they are having air conditions, not in one room, in the common hall, in the guest hall, all these things. So the need, the demand of electricity is increasing. So that's what, if you are earning more, you can see that your electricity bill will be also more. So it is a measure of lavish use of equipment, lighting, and economy as a whole. So nowadays we have so many mechanisms. We are depending on machines. No person is using அம்மியோ ஆட்டுக்கல்லோ யாரும் யூஸ் பண்றது கிடையாது. Everything is grinder, mixie, and all these things. Okay, equipment. So after some time, it will be totally the economy will be depending on electricity. So power plants with installed capacity for India is 3.7 gigawatt as one day. The installed capacity is like the maximum capacity to which a power plant is designed. So as a whole, we have the total generation is 3.7 gigawatt. But the problem with this is that we have a huge population, and if you divide it per head, it becomes low. The same is with China, but they have huge hydroelectricity. The growth after independence is from 1362 megawatt to 3.7 gigawatt. How many times? You just imagine. It's more than 2 lakhs times. Okay. And another measure is per capita consumption. So total energy consumed by the country divided by total population gives the per capita power consumption. The per capita power consumption is very important because it gives me the demand. So how much one individual is consuming. Thanks to the population that we have, and there is an increase in population, and there is an increase in the per capita consumption. You can just see it is 1181 as on last year, even though it is lower than many other countries, many other South Asian countries. But even then, there is an increment. And a small increment of, let's say, 30 kilowatt multiplied by 130 crore will be the huge thing. And not only that, nowadays the industry, automation, everything is using. So obviously the demand of electricity from is more. Just I intend to show you the graph from Central Electricity Authority site. This was shown as 31st 3 2019. You can see the huge jump from 1362 kilowatt to megawatt to this 3.56 as on 31st March 2019. Now it is more. The recent reports have not come. It is anyway, it is 3.7. So every year there is a marginal increase. We can say it is 5 to 10% increase. A huge amount. This is a huge amount. If you see, for example, just take these two. It is more than 10,000 megawatt. 10,000 megawatt means you can say at least there were about 15 power stations that had been commissioned in 19. So every year 15 to 20 new power stations come. And these require manpower from the very scratch level to the top level. So as a whole, we have a very huge demand of manpower. So this is the power per capita power consumption. You can see it is increasing. From the 2018 to 19, there was a marginal increment. There are so many reasons for this. Because India started intensively using LED bulbs, low power consuming bulbs, as a result of which the marginal increment was decreased. Now that point is saturated. Again, so we are likely to have at least 50 kilowatt hour further, 50 units further, as a result of which the demand is going to increase. How you will know the demand is increasing? Because the state electricity corporation is not able to give the power to the people. So earlier days you can see that load shedding was regular. Nowadays it is managed well, and we are at least able to meet up the requirement. So when I was a child, every week there used to be one day blackout, and there were so many days for which வீட்டில் கரண்டே இருக்காது. அரிசி உளுந்து அரைக்கணும்னா திடீர்னு ராத்திரில போய் தான் அரைக்கணும். This was what it happened those days. That was the 90s and 80s, you can see. So now this is improving thanks to the other features also. So just to compare where we stand in the world. So this is per capita electricity consumption in various countries during 15 and 16. Of course, it has been changed to 1181 now. So this is there. We are somewhere at the lowest and even lower than the world's average. Okay. So it doesn't matter. China also stands near us only. So the main thing is that it is likely the scope of increment is here. But one thing, because if you see Canada, USA, they are totally mechanized. They have reached the saturation. With the hope that we will also reach such and such a high level of usage. If you see, then our power plant, our power requirement has to increase at least 10 times. That's the idea. So it has to increase at least 10 times. But at least it will be 5 times. Okay, definitely. Now, plan-wise growth of installed capacity. Every 5 years, India plan And you can see there was a huge jump in 2012 to 17, where the private participants used to come. Earlier, the business was only government. Government means state government, central government, and other governments, other corporations. Now, private participants have come as a result. Instantaneously, so many power plants are coming, and it is adding to the total generation. So this is a very good business, but the problem in 1819, due to the solar or renewable energy and other things, we have struck up somewhere else. Now, this concept you should see, you may ask, there are green power is available, what is the necessity of this? And different types of power sources are renewable and non-renewable. Renewable is that either never run out like wind and solar energies. You are from Tuticorin, you have seen windmills, so many windmills, and in Kayataru there is one solar power plant also. Okay, these are green energy. The advantage is that their emission is less. Okay, there is no carbon dioxide, there is no sulfur dioxide, there is no other nitrogen oxide. But is that you can depend on them totally? It's all seasonal. So seasonal in the sense during the peak, monsoon peak, peaking of manpower is wind power is there. Similarly, solar is having certain variation, and during daytime, from probably from 9 to 3, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. there is there. So, but even then, we are mixing it, and the issues are that everywhere you cannot have wind power. Similarly, solar power is requiring huge land. You cannot put it probably in agricultural basin where it will be of again it will be depleting the business of agriculture. So this is there. Renewable sources, others are also there. Animals, water, and earth heat. All these are there. Okay, all are renewable. You can say wind, heat, but they must be harnessed and transformed to a useful form like current. Resources such as plant, animals can be replaced by offspring. For example, deforestation is done. So you have to wait for another 20 years until and new siblings are planted and a forest is made. So the time duration you have to see. Similarly, coal, you call it as a non-renewable source, but where from coal comes? Comes from the dead trees and animals and other things. Okay, all are sedimented in the rock, and due to thermal process of compression and heat, they are made into coal. So this is also having certain because it might have done before some 2000 years. We are using it again. It can be created, but you have to wait for 2000 years. That period of replenishing is more. Refreshing is more. And are non-renewable resources gone forever when they are used up? No, it will take millions of years for things like oil, coal, natural gas to be made by natural process of air. If they are used up by one generation of humans, it will be 1,000 generations before they are available. Maybe after 3, 4 generations, people won't know what is coal. So this is what we say, we have to reserve certain thing, and we have plenty of other renewable energy also that is to be used. And there is a finite number of times these resources can be recycled. Okay. So similarities is that both are natural, and both are can be used as a fuel, and both can be used forever if managed correctly. This is important. For this reason only the government has made it that we have to mix certain proportion of fossil fuel coal, and we will not go for mining. If the coal is cheaper, you can get it from Australia, Taiwan, Cambodia, all these countries. And Tuticorin you are getting from port, and use it. But don't deplete your own resources and for no reason, because the emission is also a problem. You emit carbon dioxide, you emit nitrogen oxide, and other And not only that, you have studied power plant as a single cell line with an output of electricity. It's not so. A power plant takes coal, petroleum, water as input, and it produces, you have seen in the picture, it produces some ash, bottom ash, fly ash, which are used for filling and making in the cement industry and other products. You can use even, you can capture even carbon dioxide also. Nitrogen also can be taken. Nitrogen can be taken and they can be put in a tank and you can fill your car tires using this. So many outputs are nowadays made, and power plant is having so many byproducts which are sold efficiently. Okay. Now, just again, we look at renewable energy resources. Renewable energy sources have been shooting up, and thanks that Tamil Nadu is the leader. Tamil Nadu is the leader as far as wind energy is concerned. We are generating more than 5,000 megawatt during peak hours, and we have solar contribution also. Tamil Nadu, not only Tamil Nadu, all other parts are now coming. Wherever barren lands are available in Rajasthan and other places, this solar energy is also used. And you can see the shoot up of solar is from 2007-8, where the Ministry of MNRE, non-renewable energy sources, started. From that time, it has gone at least 5 times more. 5 times more. This is very important because that is a green energy. So this is just a percentage of um, installed capacity. You see, the coal is having 56 percentage, 56.3, and RES is having 21 percentage. Hydro is having 12.75. Nowadays, diesel have become thin. Many of the power plants have stopped because the price of diesel is more heavy. Nuclear is there. There are certain limitations of fuel and hazardous. And gas. Gas is liquefied petroleum gases or natural gases are used as a fuel. Again, here the price of gas is more, then you cannot do. So what we do a peaking of gas. When there is nothing available, then we use this gas. So hope things are going fine. Mr. Regan, is there any problem? It's okay. So then the utility electric sector is in India has one national grid because we one nation, one grid, and this was having 350.162 gigawatt as on 28th February 2019. This record comes later. Renewable power plants constituted 21.8% from the figure. You have seen the pie chart. And gross electricity demand of country was 1,303.49 terawatt. The total electricity in our country was 1,486.5 terawatt. The gross consumption electricity per capita was 1181, and it had a jump of about 31, okay, 31 kilowatt hour in 1 year. It's very less, multiplied by 130. So we are the largest producer and the third largest producer and consumer of electricity. As far as agricultural sector is concerned, India is the country which is using maximum electricity in agriculture. So we have to be proud at least. Okay. Now coming to the point, we have 3.7 gigawatt. It's okay. Is it sufficient? Why we have to go further? These are the questions. We have surplus power generation, but still it is seen that some of the parts of country are not having proper electricity because of the problem that we are not managing it, and the mechanism is not good. Not only the mechanism of transfer, it is the money realization also, because whoever is the agency, they can give. As long as the money is realized, money for the electricity is realized, It's not okay. So for that, the government is working on certain platform, and this scheme will ensure continuous and uninterrupted, because it's a business. I can generate the power. I have to get certain return, so that I am able to pay for my banker, employee, and a certain percentage is as a interest of my investment. So now, this scheme will ensure continuous and uninterrupted electricity supply to households, industries, commercial, by creating and improving necessary infrastructure. Necessary infrastructure means where we have to start from the plant itself. Whether the plant is running efficiently, what is the coal they are consuming? This plant is consuming a lot of coal and producing very less electricity. That means you check the plant once again and ask them to modernize. If not possible, close the plant. Then coming to the transmission edge. Transmission edge is okay, whether it is managed properly, whether the power is evacuated properly. If not, what are the problems? Lay transmission lines, and then connected to the, coming to the distribution sector, how much is the last transmission and distribution loss? The loss is more, and what are the other problems? And these all things are to be taken effectively. And now going into the real this thing, gross electricity. You have seen the last slide where it was 58% coal. Now it is 74%. 74% is the actual electricity generated, and this much of electricity is generated. It's like having a plant installed capacity of 59. I am able to generate 75% of electricity. So in a nutshell, you can say 3/4 of your home's electricity is from coal. So that way coal will rule. This is what it is on. India's electricity sector is dominated by fossil fuels, and in particular coal, in which it has produced 3/4 of all electricity. However, the government is punishing for pushing for thinning clusters and increased investment in renewable. Because the question is, power demand will increase, and we should take care of emissions and other concept also. And in the meantime, it has to be managed properly. Means we have to rely on renewable energy also. So with the commissioning of 50,000 to 25 megawatt coal-based power plants under construction, and achieving 2.75 gigawatt total installed renewable capacity after the retirement, really 13,000, because many power plants are old, 50 years old. Even in Neyveli, there was one thermal power station, old, that is retired. Because the old part, you cannot, the technology is old, it cannot handle much mechanism, the efficiencies are there, other things are also there. So that way, this is the sector-wise growth of installed capacity. You can see up to 11, 12, it was dominated by state. State is violet and blue. It was, violet and brown. It was dominated by state and central board. So it was the job of government to install power plant and to give. Now the idea has changed, concept is changed. Government is not investing money, huge amount of money in this. They have given certain relaxation to private sector. So as a whole, you can see from 2010 to 18-19, private sectors have boomed up, and their installed capacity is more than state-owned and central-owned. If you combine these two, then obviously government sector is in the upper hand. Now we have to see the cost. Why you are joining the power plant is this makes it very important. There are different types of sources you have. Onshore. Onshore means in the shore, the seashore itself, and offshore means in the sea itself. there will be wind. Such things will have how much of capital cost, and the wind power is having lesser capital cost. There is no this. Solar PV utility. Solar is having two parts. One is solar PV with battery backing. Okay, and solar without backup. This is online. So whatever the electricity is produced, you can't store. You give it to the grid. So this may be also cheaper, and operation cost is less. Biomass, geothermal, micro turbine, solar thermal, fuel cell. Here you see the conventional type. There a gas combined cycle is having lesser, but the problem is we don't have that much of gas to supply for power plant here. Coming next is coal. Obviously, coal is fitting in the next cheaper uh, electricity. And nuclear. Nuclear, the problem is the availability of fuel and plant also. It takes so many years to construct one plant. And industrial gasification of coal, combined cycle coal. And this is also there, but it takes more power. Diesel generator, obviously, the cost of price is now over liter price of diesel, 80 rupees. So obviously, we cannot operate. There was a time where diesel generator was cheaper. Now people are moving to static generators, that is UPS and all. So this gives a complete comparison. So cost of renewable power is here. You can see coal. It is less than per. This is per kilowatt. Uh, this is per megawatt. Sorry, it's per megawatt. It is less than 80, $90. So you can compare it that way. 90 multiplied by 100. So it is around 8 to 9 rupees. Okay, that for different plant it will vary. Now the question comes, why you should join? Now, how much of manpower is employed in a power plant? You can see different plants are shown. Overall, is a combining thermal, hydro, nuclear power system. So all this becomes a power sector. Okay, it's not an individual that coal power. So even if you see coal power, one man per megawatt is required for thermal power. Hydro power 1.5, it's more. Nuclear power, it is 2, around 2 per megawatt. So if you say 2000 megawatt in Kudangulam, approximately 4000 people will be there. Like this, 3.8 for, sorry, it is, yes, 3.8 for nuclear. So it is 3.8 into 2000, about 7000 people will be there. And overall is 5. This includes the contract labor and other allied sector, because everybody is not in the role of power plant. You have to contract, you have to employ certain contract laborers and all these things. This is the idea. So now you know how much of power is installed, 3.7 gigawatt. So obviously 3,70,000 manpower is the requirement. And overall manpower is 5 times. Again, multiply it by 5 times. 16,000 manpower is employed in power, either directly or indirectly. So this is a huge sector with a huge scope. Even if you take Tamil Nadu, the installed capacity is around 8,000 megawatt. So per megawatt, it is we are having more than 40-50,000 people employed in power sector. It will be more. Now, just to show this, I'm not saying it is shown from Powerline magazine. So this is also saying that we don't have skilled workforce in various sector, especially in power sector. If you see the other countries, we have 2.3% of workforce undergone formal skill training compared to 68% in UK and 75% in Germany and 52% in US. This shows there is a skill gap. The skill gap can be developed by training institutes only. But the advantage what India has is that 54% of population is below 25 years. That's what in future, after some 25 years, we'll have huge manpower who will be working and willing to learn. So they have to be trained in proper training institutes. So for that purpose, there is a skill gap, and this skill gap can be met by training only. So government is also encouraging skill gap. So they have mentioned NPTI. Whatever I have told, we are having institutes in Faridabad, New Delhi, Durgapur, Nagpur, Neyveli, Bangalore, Nangal, Guwahati, Kerala, Chipuri, all these places. We run these courses. They have told the course. Now coming to this, we are almost approaching the end of this. PLF is one of the things that shows the plant loading factor. Suppose you have a bike and that is having maximum speed of 150. I'll ask you, can you travel at 150 most of the time? No. Then I take another scooter which is having mileage and whose average speed is not more than 60 kilometer per hour. That is better. So plant loading factor is how much you can load your plant for the requirement. This gives the demand of the electricity. So you see in the 2008 to 2009, 2010 period, there was a huge stress. Plants were running with 77% availability. Now somewhat reduced to 61%. That shows that the total demand has been reduced to some extent. This is why it is not shooting up more than 20-30%. But the curve is always steady. Earlier days, you can see it was decreasing. Now, at least 17, 18, 19, there is a steady growth, and it is increasing. So this is very important that we are moving towards uh, a positive edge. And obviously, the power is not only utilized by um, domestic, it is utilized by commercial, industrial, agricultural, traction services, all these sectors. And so obviously, domestic will increase because every time you can see a new houses is constructed. Similarly, there is traction improvement. There is commercial, big, huge infrastructures are coming, industries are coming. So as a result, it is going to increase only. No chance of coming down. Power will increase always. This is the idea. Now, category-wise energy consumption, if you see, we are almost, as I told earlier, it was agricultural is also there, domestic is lesser, and other industry, three major industry. If you see China, then there is a lot of power used in industry. That's why their products are very cheap. Now, the challenges, we have to look into the challenges. If you see the challenges, the challenge comes from where? Because there is a computer for the power now that is from the renewable energy. So as a result, cost per because it involves huge construction, operation, maintenance. Cost per megawatt of nuclear hydro thermal power plant is high. Now, commissioning period of nuclear hydro thermal plant or more. You have seen so many examples. Tuticorin, you are in Tuticorin. When I was almost some 15, 20 years back, I'm visiting this Kudangulam project, and it has come now. So it takes about 20 years. For hydro, it will take 30 years. And thermal, it will take 3 to 4 years. Okay, now, if you see the service of a power plant, for example, I joined as a graduate engineer. Until my retirement, I can work in a power plant. So, because the life of thermal power plant is 25 to 30 years. 25 to 35 years. And what about the hydro? Metru Dam, it has completed more than 60, 70 years, 100 years, I don't know, 70, 80 years. So, but what about nuclear power plant? Will it go continuously? Again, you have to replenish it. And if any accident happen, then the business is over. And in renewable, wind and solar can be brought in operation within a year. So you have to install the thing. These are the things that makes the renewable sector brighter than the power plant. Installation period, yield period. Immediately you take a loan and your repayment period starts immediately. Common challenges. Okay, the power is produced and it is sent. Now it has to be received by a consumer and you will pay the bill. In between, there are problems. Transmission line capacity addition. I start a power plant, there is no transmission line. It's a problem. The government has to work on how much of transmission capacities are there and T&D losses. These are very important. Transmission and distribution loss. Technical and commercial losses we call, it will be always there uh, due to heating, due to mismatching, due to transformer core and other loss. There will be certain loss, but it should not be at a higher side. Supposing you are losing your 20% of energy while transmission, then who has to pay that 20%? Poor customer has to pay. On the other hand, if you make your system effectively, that 20% will be also adding to your installed capacity. This is why the government has taken strict measure to minimize the T&D loss. And there is a competitive building. Again, there is no monopoly market here. You want to sell the electricity, you can sell, depending on your price. And lowering of peak load. Peak loads are lowered, and I'll show you a graph that peak load is more means you can generate, and PLF was decreased, you have already seen. Low electricity bill charges, you cannot rise. If you rise, there will be a lot of issues in all states. And there is a separate regulatory authority associated with whom are increasing this. Okay, cannot increase the bill just like that. Electricity bill has to be increased uh, in a proper way by proper methods. So these are the common challenges. Now, if you look at the TND laws, it's not, you compare yourself with the different countries. We and South Africa are at same par, at same level. Sorry, India is at more, 20%. We are losing 20% of energy in transmission and distribution loss. And somebody says there is a theft also, that is also to be reduced by 100% metering. Then if you see the world average is less than 10. Where from the fault occurs, government is making all norms so that this particular things are maintained properly. So in Tamil Nadu also, some of the states are having better T&D laws. For example, Andhra has replaced all the transmission distribution sector by high conductance copper core, and as a result, they have reduced. But it should not be more. If it is more, it is a trouble to the industry as a whole, because you are losing the income for no reason. Somebody is stealing or whatever it is happening. So it is hampering the whole industry, and it goes in percentage. So whatever you increase, whatever you earn, 20% goes. Means you have to take strict measure. And peak load, this is the reason why you should join, because there is a demand is going to increase, at least in big cities like Chennai, Calcutta, Hyderabad, Greater Mumbai, Bangalore, and all these things. As a result of which, this is an estimate for the year 2021-22. So there is a big demand of electricity. Definitely, this will boost them. Now, to understand all India peak and energy deficit, if you see, peak energy is the maximum energy in a day, 24 hours. Okay, what is the peak requirement? So it's not going to be the same crowd, because in the morning people are getting up and they are doing so many activity, so it will be more. Once you go to office, school, there is a common static movement. And similarly, after evening, that is 6 o'clock, then again there is a peak. This is what the peak you are seeing. So in the morning peak, evening peak, and at midnight, nobody is going to use more electricity for other purposes. So this curve and deficit is that one which you don't give. So this compares this, and you can see it has decreased. Energy peak and energy deficit has gone low. This is a major reason why it is there. So, but anyway, the peak and deficit, if both are matching, it will be ideal. Peak. And going with the EIA, Energy Information Association, they are the prediction for the whole energy demand from for the next 20 years, how the scenario is going to be. They have predicted that the nuclear will grow constantly, renewables will rather pick up moment, natural gas will grow further, but coal can see there is a saturation of the cow, and but not the least, it is dominating. So these are the gist from that. So renewable energy, nuclear, they are growing, each increasing by 2.5%. However, fossil fuel will continue to supply 80% of energy to world. Natural gas is also growing fast. The industrial sector continues to account for largest share because population is almost saturating. Now the dominance is from industry. But carbon dioxide emissions, because there are strict norms, we have to switch over to renewable energy. Okay. So this is the idea. You can refer to any. So now it's my fine thank to you. Thank you very much. Please take care of this pandemic situations. Keep yourself and your environment clean. Thank you very much. I thank once again Mother Teresa College, Tuticorin, for giving me an opportunity. Especially thanks to Mr. Jay Kumar and Regan, HODs of Electrical and Electronics Department. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Hello.
Thank you much, sir.
Thank you.
On behalf of our management, I have to thank the resource person, Dr. Selvam, and the participants for maintaining their patience. Once again, I thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you.